Welcome everybody to Excel in Access. This is the place to be if you want to learn Excel and become an expert in it. My videos are pretty much giving you excuse me. These videos are going to give you step-by-step training in Excel, whether you're a beginner or intermediate. I did start, if you look at my previous videos, it's pretty much beginner level, but I'll be adding more videos that are going to go from beginner to intermediate to advanced as we go along. So please don't forget to subscribe and like so you don't miss any upcoming videos. So today's lesson is going to be on charts. Charts are useful because it allows you to visually see and understand relationships between a series of numeric data. So I'm going to go ahead and create a chart in Excel, and this is Excel 2013 that I am using. So here's my data here. So usually the first thing I do, if you don't already have data that is lined up in order for you to be able to create your chart, then using a pivot table is a great way to align the data into a table so you can create your chart. Now, in my previous episode or previous video, I do give a tutorial on how to create a pivot table. I'm not going to go through it step by step here. If you want to learn how to create a pivot table and what pivot table is, please watch my previous video. Just click on the link here and watch that. But first thing I'm going to do is going to create a pivot table and then create a chart from the pivot table if you don't already have the data in a table. So here is my data. And most likely for most of y'all, you're going to have data like this, and you're going to have to be able to extract what you need to be able to create a pivot chart. So first things first, let's create a pivot table. So I'm going into my empty spreadsheet, and I'm going into Insert, Pivot Table, and I'm going to highlight the data that I need to extract data in order to create my chart, and hit OK. So now we have our pivot table chart here, I guess you can say, and here are my fields. So let's see, I want to see sales trends by category and date. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the product category into columns, and I am going to filter. I don't want to see everything. I just want to see a couple items. Let's try this. 5 items will do. Okay. And then I'm going to pull the date down. So here are the date. And I'm going to pull the sales units, and I want to make sure that's in sum. So here is my pivot table. I'm going to highlight the pivot table and just decrease the width of the table a little bit so we can see it. Alright, so here's my data. So here is sales of these particular items during the month. And I'm also going to filter the date. I just want the last 4 months of 2012. Alright, so here's the last 4 months of 2012. And there's my data. So this is what I'm going to use to create my chart. First chart I'm going to create is going to be a line chart. And the line chart allows you to see sales trend, and that's what I want to see. I want to see sales trend over time. So I click on the pivot table, go to Analyze, it's already there, and right in the Tools box, click on where it says Pivot Chart. That's going to bring you a whole list of different chart types, that chart styles you can use. I want a line chart because I'm looking for sales trend over time. And in there's several different types of line charts you can choose from. I'm going to choose the first one, hit OK, and here is my data, well, my chart. So it's a very simple chart. It's showing me line trend, pretty much the trend of these particular products over time. So I can pretty much see which items are doing well and which items are not doing well, and you can base an analyzation over that. All right, now this is a pretty plain looking chart, so I'm going to spice this chart up just a little bit, and you can do that. It was just a great thing about 2013. 2013 actually has a little plus sign on the side that allows you to adjust and modify your pivot chart so it looks a little bit more appealing, you know. So first thing you can do, my axis looks pretty okay. So I'm going to keep the axis here. Axis is this on the left here, which gives me all my values, my units. I'm going to actually put a chart title and call it sales trends per category. I can't type. Alright, so I got a nice title. Data labels look fine. I'm not going to add data labels. You can also change the data, create a table if you really wanted to. I'm not going to do that. Error bars. So there are different things you can really do with this chart. I like the chart the way it is, so I'm going to leave it as is. But I want to create a nice visual effect because I'm going to take this chart and put it in a PowerPoint presentation. So I'm going to click on design and see what nice little designs I can add to this chart. If you click on quick layout, it gives you different layout options, similar to the layout options when I was clicking on the plus sign that you can use. But I like this particular layout, so I'm going to use it that way. Now the axis title allows you to put, so you could put something like value or sales units, but I'm not going to do that, so I'm just going to delete that. So here, if you pretty much move your arrow along the top boxes in chart style, it gives you several different chart styles that you can choose from. It just depends on what you visually want your chart to look like, and you can pretty much select whatever chart style works for you. And there's several. This is kind of cool. But I think I'm going to go with this one right here. I like the shaded black background of it. When I put it in PowerPoint, it's going to make a very nice and visual presentation here. So I like this. So far my chart looks very nice. One thing about the pivot chart is that if you change your pivot table, for example, if I added dates in 2013, it's going to add it to the pivot table. And if it does that, it changes the width of your chart, which is fine. All you do is go back to design or format, excuse me, and decrease the width or change it to where you want it to be. So there you go. And then I have my 2 extra dates. So you can see just by looking at the chart that this particular item, the choice item, going into 2013, and the Metal Mini, that particular item as well, just hit a serious increase. And that's probably due because of the holidays. As you can see, it dipped during the month of December. Then in January, maybe there's a promotion that caused this increase here. So that's the great thing about charts. It really, really helps you to give you a bigger picture and analyze your data. So I'm going to go ahead and remove those 2 dates. I only want to see data for the last 4 months. So it's sales trends per category. So it looks pretty nice. So I'm actually happy with this. Oh, another thing that you can also do is to remove these. Because I want to take this and post it into a PowerPoint, I don't need this particular. So I'm going to take this, and I did a right click, and down here where it says you can hide value fill buttons in the chart. So if I click on this, I'm only going to hide this, but I want to hide all of it. Product category, the date, sum. So I'm going to click on hide all fill buttons on chart, and those fill buttons are gone. And if you want it back, you just right click and click on it, category, to put it back in. So there's my nice chart. So I'm going to right click. Actually, you know what? I think I'm going to show you one more thing that you can do. So here are my, what you would call the horizontal axis, and you can actually adjust it. If these weren't dates, and let's say that these were actually the categories, for example, let's switch it. Let's switch the categories. Now if I want to switch it, I just go straight here, date, product category. All right, so let's do this. Okay, there you go. So I switched it, and of course I'm going to have to readjust this data. Now, as you can see, this right here needs to be aligned, and you can align that. It's quite simple to do that. What I would do is I want to go to the access, actually data labels. No, I want to go into access, titles, more options. And I want to format text options. So I want this first, get rid of the access title. Don't want that, but I need to format this. So I don't mind it being middle center, but you can make it top center, bottom, or however you want it, but I don't mind middle center for vertical, which is a vertical alignment. But I want to get rid of this. But I want it in a custom angle. And you can play with it a little bit to give the angle that you want. So here's my angle. I can decrease the angle. You can rotate it. Not quite what I want. Stacked. That looks terrible. So we'll keep it like this. And we'll keep it angled slightly. So I like this. So we have a nice little angle. It just, if you have a lot of data, it just allows it to look better. Let's go back to where it was before. So that's pretty much how you would, if you wanted to format the charts, well, the little axis. So you could do the same thing for here, but I don't see any reason why. But this is if you had words or you had long category names here. So I'm going to go back and switch my data to the way it was before. Let's go back to a pivot table, analyze, and I want my field list back. So we're going to go back and put everything the way it was before. There we go. And anytime you move the design or the category, you must go back and format it, at least the width and shape. So here is my chart. I really like my chart. And it kept the format of the axis to a nice slight angle. So it looks good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this. And this is what I'm going to put in my PowerPoint. So I'm just going to paste it here as a picture. So I have a picture. But I want to create another chart. And I can create another chart straight from this one. It's pretty easy. I want to create a pie chart. Pie chart is another type of chart that allows you to see pretty much percentages or numbers or values. It's just another way of looking at your data. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change my pivot table, because in order to create a pie chart, you must modify the data of the table that you're looking at. So what I want to do is I'm going to take the date, put it in the filter box, and bring the product category down. So I want to look at sales unit per percentage for these particular items. So I want to change this to a pie chart. So just go click on design and click on change chart type and click on pies. And there are different pie designs, of course. And I'm just going to click on the first one. And here is my pie chart. Let me just decrease the width just a little bit. Okay, great. And here's my pie chart. Very simple, but very plain. But just like the other chart, I can go and just modify this layout. First thing I want to do is change the category, because it's not what it's looking at. So I'm going to change it, even though I don't have it yet. I'm going to be looking at it as percentages. So it's going to be percent of sales for the last 4 months, because that's what it's filtered to in my date filter. So percent of sales in the last 4 months. I'm going to change this. So quick layout allows me to change this into whichever layout works best for me. And there's several different layouts I can choose from. This is the best one for me because it does gives me the percentages. of sales in the last 4 months. And I already like the background design, so I'm going to keep it exactly the way it is. And so I now have my pie chart. And I can take this, copy it, and put this here, and paste it as well as a picture. And then I can use this and paste it in my PowerPoint presentation. So when I'm presenting, I can present it as sales trends per category. And if I wanted to, here's the percent of sales from the last 4 months. So here I'm looking at trend, here I'm looking at instant percentages and values. So that in a nutshell is pretty much how you create pivot tables if you were just given a whole line of data and you were told to extract a certain information from it, or you're trying to extract a certain information and look. But if you are given, let's say you were just given this, then you could just take that and create a pivot chart the same way. Well, I won't say a pivot chart, but you can create that. So let's go here, and you were just given this data. Very simple data. Sales, and you just need to create a chart. It's pretty much the same way. You would just go here and insert, and you want to insert a chart, so you go into the charts dialog box, and they already have the charts that were in that previous dialog box for you, so you just choose. So I want to insert a pie chart. I'll insert this pie chart, and there you go. Here's your blank canvas. Now you're given a blank canvas because then you're given the chance to choose your data, and you just go here, select data, and you just highlight the data. That's it. Highlight the data and hit OK, and here's your chart. All right, and then you can go ahead and create the chart the way you want it and align it. And here it is again. And then this is sales units. You can do sales unit percent of sales per chart, however you want it. And these are just different designs you can do. All right. I actually like this design. This is cool right here. The percentages are nice and bold. If you would put it on a PowerPoint, it's very easy to see. And the categories as well. This is also a very nice one to use as well. So there it is. So this is creating charts in Excel in a nutshell. Very simple, very easy, and I showed you 2 ways to do it. If you were just given lots of data and you need to extract information and create a chart from that information, or if you were just given a simple table and you need to create a chart from there. All right. So if you have any questions or comments, please comment at the bottom, or if you have any questions or a tutorial that you would like me to do, please leave a comment below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I think that's it. So again, don't forget to like and subscribe, and look out for future videos. I will be moving into other exciting topics. All right, thanks a lot. And again, watch my previous videos if you're not familiar with Excel. It's kind of beginner level, and it'll help those who are just trying to get their feet wet in Excel. All right, thanks very much for watching. Bye-bye.